Alright, so let's continue on and take a look at another example of what you might use the export module for. In this example, I'm going to create an export file for all records, but this time we're going to include some things like gift information. Alright, when I create a new export, again, I pick the type I'm creating and the format of the file. Now, the type I'm going to pick is a CSV, or character separated values, comma separated values. I'll also include a header record, just like I should. And this is to help with anybody. If you're sending this file to a printer, if you're creating a custom report, whatever it might be, it's good to have that header file so you know what field is what, okay? Now when I say create now, I'm gonna resize this so I can give you a better demonstration of what I'm doing. And I'm gonna leave the include tab as all records. Now what I'm gonna do is go to the output tab and I'm gonna create, say, a mailing. Now you can do a mailing in export just as you would in the mail module. The only thing is you would be able to include a lot more fields than you ever would using the mail module. Even the robust, powerful tool of the appeal cards cannot compete with all the fields that you can put in an export. All right, so let's take a look at what you would do if you're going to send out a mailing. You would start by all the fields that you can envision inside a mailing. So you'd start with addressee, maybe salutation. Let's do this. I'm going to grab the address block. We'll go to preferred address and I'll just grab the whole address block. Now because export doesn't work with the Microsoft Word Wizard, it doesn't have the feature that mail would typically have where address block would encompass all the fields in one expandable field. So it will, when you copy address block over, it will copy all of the possible fields over. So anything that you don't think you'll need, you can remove. Like for instance, I always get rid of the extra address lines, I get rid of the country, things like that. Okay, so from here, let's start looking at the additional fields that are really robust with export. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to send a mailing that would say, okay, your last gift to us was X number of dollars. And would you consider giving us that plus 10%? Something along those lines, okay? So on the left-hand side, you see how it has last gift as one of the options? If I were to expand that and go down and grab gift amount and gift date, so maybe my my letter might say, your last gift to us was on this date of this amount, or your last gift of $50 was given to us on this date. Again, whatever you're going to do with this file, it's totally up to you. There's so many different uses that you can think of that I've seen, but we'll just do this as a basic example. All right, when you grab anything like a gift criteria, last gift, first gift, greatest gift, or even regular gift, it will ask you if you want to filter the gifts. So like you might want to exclude any gifts over $1 million or over $5,000, or you maybe want to exclude certain campaigns or funds or appeals. Whatever it might be, you have the ability of doing that here. Now, when you're doing any gift date kind of functions, it asks you, do you want to use the gift date, the post date, or do you want to do it within a specific range of dates? Like for instance, if I wanted to send a file or create a file where everybody, you'd have a name and all they're giving for 2005, all they're giving for 2006, all they're giving for 2007. I have the ability of doing that here, but we'll get in, that's a little bit more advanced. We'll get into that later. All right, so from here, you would say the start amount of maybe a penny, and then I just usually do something really outrageous like that. I'm not going to apply any filters. But you might want to do this. You don't want to say to a person your last gift was X amount of dollars if that gift was a gift in kind. So what it's a good practice to do is just include cash, maybe include stocks. All right, because you don't want to include gift in kind donations on a letter that says your last gift to us was such and such. All right, so when I say okay, you'll notice that the field last gift and gift amount are there. Now in the event that I want to do something in addition, maybe I'll say your last gift was $50, would you consider a donation of $55, right? Let me put in gift date as well. What I can do is grab another field called gift amount and pull it over as well. You see what I've done? I have gift amount twice, but what I'm going to do with it this time is a little different. I'm going to highlight that one, and you see where it says format, that button below? If I click that, it gives me this dialog. What do I want to do with this amount? I can say increase, decrease, or neither, but in this case I'm going to say increase by, I'll have a choice of amount or percentage. I'll say percent, and I will say 10%, and round to whole numbers. Okay, so when I say okay, now when I create this file, this is going to be an Excel file. I can actually see, and let's do this together. So what I'm going to do is export it now, and I'm going to call this, I'll put this on my desktop as well, and we'll say sample export to. And now it's going to go and grab every record. Now, because this is a sample database, it's not going to be that long of a process. But if it's a real database and you're actually creating a real mailing, this could be a time-consuming file because you might have thousands and thousands of records. The sample database is pretty limited. Okay, so let it create the file. Okay, when it's done, what you will get is a dialog that shows you how many rows were exported or how many lines of information. In this case, 243. That's how many records are in the sample database, by the way. So when I say okay, I'm going to go to my desktop and let's go peek at this file so you can get a feel for what it does. Now, just like our last example, any of you that have experience with Excel, what you will see is all the different fields with a header record. So here we have the addressee, the salutation, address line 1, address line 2, if there is one. And as we scroll to the right, you'll see city, org name, position, state. And take a look at the far right. Now what you have here is gift amount, gift date, and the second gift amount. So remember how we talked about doing a gift with a 10% difference? Well, this is what would happen. It would say, thank you for your last gift of $75 that was given on 7/1. Would you consider giving us a gift of 83? You see how this works? So every amount that you see in this column is increased by 10% in this column. Pretty nifty little tool, you gotta admit. Now this is just to touch on some of the things you can do with export. Now, I've given you the basics, and the most common exports are things like a constituent export. Sometimes you'll do a gift export if you are going to do any kind of global gift correction. But we won't get into that until you're doing data importing and gift and data repair. So what I'm going to do now is start you off on a couple exercises. You've had enough to get your feet wet, so let's give you a few exercises to sort of hone your skills.